government has announced new measures which could see driverless cars on British streets as soon as next year. Our technology correspondent Tom Cheshire is at a testing track in Nuneaton, Warwickshire, where the cars are being developed. Tom.
Hi, yeah, so Vince Cable was here earlier. He had a go in the driverless car. I was taking around this test track around here, but he also announced plans to get driverless cars on UK roads in 6 months' time, which is quite soon. There are two bits to that plan, really. First is a review of the existing regulations, look at the law to change it so that driverless cars can be allowed, and maybe so that you can be on your phone if your car is driverless. We'll see how that develops. They'll announce a review. The second is a competition, an open competition. Cities can bid to host these pilot schemes. There are going to be 3 of them, and test how driverless cars work in the real world. Not here on the test track, actually out there in cities. But I'm here with Matt Saunders, who spends his days driving around this test track in proper cars, driving himself, not being driven, for Auto Trader magazine. What's your take? Have you been impressed by what you've seen today?
It's hard not to be. You know, when you sit in this car and the thing just drives you around the track here, you're just slightly taken aback, aren't you? The thing that really impresses me, though, is that it's just a normal family car. You know, you recognise it, we know exactly what it is, and that you can fit just some extra sensory boxes on a normal car and make it do this. It just tells you everything you need to know about the fact that actually the technology to do this is already in our cars, and it's closer than we think.
Well, closer than we think, but actually how long before we can buy a driverless car and put our feet up on our commute or on our school run?
I would say you'll be able to drive a luxury car that will handle maybe 50% of your commute for you within 5 years. Further off than that, it'll probably be 20 years maybe before you actually can buy a car that will drive you from your house to the office or handle any journey you could put in front of it. That's the hard thing. More importantly, a car that you don't actually need to be in at all while it's driving.
So why is it so far? If we've got these tests happening, what's the holdback? You mentioned the technology is already here. What's stopping it from, what's making it be 2 decades away? Well,
there's a big difference between designing a car that can operate, say, on a motorway temporarily, defined speeds in a sort of a defined idiom, and be safe, and also operate under your supervision, than there is from a car that can basically replace its driver, a car that has to perceive every single hazard that could be put in front of it, a car that could be fail-safe, a car that can obviously communicate with other cars and vehicle network in order to just keep itself safe. There's a really big difference, and I think that's where that 20 years comes in.
Matt, thanks very much. I was in a car earlier, and we actually had a bit of a hairy mistake where we had to come and take back control of the wheel. So it's not quite there yet, but 6 months' time, it'll be on UK roads, public roads.
Tom Cheshire, thank you. We're joined now by the Chief Executive of the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders, Mike Hawes, and Sarah Ismail, who's a charity worker who welcomes the freedom that driverless cars would give to disabled people. Mike Hawes, to you first. What do you think the demand would be like for these driverless vehicles?
I think the demand will be significant. I think the opportunity for drivers to have an increasingly greater part of their journey operating autonomously will be useful. They'll appreciate the time. No one really enjoys driving in a traffic jam or where you're having slow-paced, but you compare that with also the enjoyment you do get when you're more on the open roads. Having that combination, I think, will be greatly appealing.
And Sarah, you have cerebral palsy. What would this mean for you?
This would be more than a car for me. It would be complete independence. I mean, obviously it's going to take a while to get to that stage, I realise that, but if it does, it would mean everything for me. It would mean I can get up and go out on my own when I want, where I want, without having to wait for anyone to be around to go with me or drive me around, and you know, that would mean a lot to me. That would mean a lot to my carers as well. It will reduce a lot of stress that they face.
I mean, Mike, this technology has been around for a few decades now. It's only just sort of with Google's backing getting towards coming into the mainstream, as we've been hearing. But the safety aspect, we were hearing the reviewer from Auto Trader saying that the car was fail-safe, but technology can't be, can it? Things that we've been using for years and years have faults, do go wrong. So safety is going to be a major concern.
Safety will be paramount, and all vehicle manufacturers who are investigating this technology have that as their foremost priority. No one will want to introduce this sort of technology that's going to jeopardise anything in safety. But what it should be able to do is deliver improved safety. We know about 90% of accidents are caused by human error. Now, if a computer can anticipate the potential for an accident and brake ahead of when a human would react, that's going to increase the likelihood of avoiding that accident in the first place.
Sarah, would you feel confident putting your trust in the technology?
I would love to be able to do that. I know it's not going to happen straight away. And obviously technology can fail. And what will happen if it fails in the middle of the road? And if I don't have, in the beginning, we would need to have people with a qualified drivers with us, with a full license. But at the possibilities that I'm seeing, I know they're a few years ahead. But yes, I will be confident when it's finally all approved.
Mike, what about cost? I mean, all this new technology costs money. It may be that it's out of the realms of possibility for, you know, the likes of Sarah and I to be able to get into one of these cars and use them.
Well, you're already seeing some of these technologies on new cars today. You have adaptive cruise control, which makes sure your car is a certain distance from the car in front. Technology which stops you moving from one lane to another, warns you when you're doing that. So you're gradually seeing that sort of technology. The braking systems that will anticipate an accident. So it's a question of, you know, this technology becoming more widespread, linked to other parts of communication systems, the satellite navigation, to give you that full autonomous driving opportunity. Now, with any technology, as the introduction becomes more wide-placed, the cost comes down, and it will be seen on the sort of cars that everyone buys.
I mean, still many questions for the government to answer. Do you need a driving licence? What about insurance premiums? If there's an accident, who's to blame? Yeah. We'll wait and see what the outcomes are. Thank you both very much. Thank you. Let's take a quick look at the weather now, shall we? Well, southern parts of Britain